This is the video about RBY UU introduction, I guess. I'm gonna start this music and get started. So, basically, start off with the RBY UU viability rankings. It's basically all the good mons of the tier. That's slightly inaccurate, but whatever. So basically, RBY UU has a bunch of driving forces. Like, these are big threats that you have to consider and provide multiple, usually like have solid game plans around, like not just a check or whatever. So like, for we have Tentacool, Kadabra, Dugtrio, Articuno, and Kangaskhan. These are the normal types, which is Kangaskhan, Dodrio, but also Persian. Okay, so first one, Tentacool. This is like Rap's basically the way Rap in Gen 1 works. I don't know if you know, but it's like any Pokemon slower than it gets trapped there and you just can't move. So Tentacool basically sets the speed tier for the tier. Everything under 100 slow, everything after faster than it is, I guess, fast, and it's pretty fat. Like, basically you need multiple checks to it on every team, which is stuff like Kadabra, Dugtrio, etc. Even like Haunter and stuff like Dodrio that I can't risk the speed tie on. And the big way to limit Tentacool is by paralyzing it, so it like can't wrap as well. But even without wrap, it's still like really threatening of a mon. It's a really good special stat. A solid water typing is good, etc. The next one, Kadabra. This is Kadabra's like basically the biggest tentacle check in the tier. It's like, but it's also really strong psychic. It's fast as hell. Thunder Wave cripples a lot of the stuff that like wants to check, that would check it otherwise. And it's just really strong, yeah. And you usually like deal with it with, you hit it with this weak defense stat, so like Dugtrio, normal types, etc. Yeah. Or you, yeah. And then Dugtrio, this is honestly the most threatening Pokemon in the tier. Basically forces like multiple ground resists, or like really fat mons like Kangaskhan in every team. So yeah, stuff like Kangaskhan, Dodrio are decent to it, but with the sky high crit rate, basically like any Pokemon that gets crit when it KO'd by it is not a check, with the exception of Articuno, because like with the Gen 1 crit rates, like something like 5% or something of every attack Dodrio attacks with, it's gonna crit. It's insane. So you want to have like Pokemons, ground resistant ground immunes like Dragonite, Tangela, stuff like that. Even Kangaskhan is really fat. And Dugtrio, like, yeah, it really limits the kinds of teams you can run in the tier. And then next we have Articuno. This is Agility Sweeper. It's highest, I think highest? No, it's not, but has the strongest special move in the game, the Stab Blizzard. And the only like real checks to it are like water types that resist the stab and are either like fat or do a lot back to it. So yeah, it's really strong, really forces like basically Tentacool on a ton of teams. And then also Dugong is this good basically solely because of it. Yeah. Then next you have normal types. Kangaskhan and Dodrio are the two strongest ones. You have a really strong stab like Hyper Beam, which, because Hyper Beam, if it kills, it doesn't recharge. And these are super strong, like, I don't know. Like, these can like one hit Kadabra. Dodrio's, I'm pretty sure there's not a single Pokemon in the tier that can consistently take a crit Dodrio Hyper Beam. Articuno has a roll to live, and other than Golem, of course, because Golem resists, and Omastar, but Dodrio is like really strong. The Hyper Beam hits like a truck, and even Persian, the Slash is basically a pseudo Hyper Beam. Hits so also the high query Hyper Beams has forces a ton of pressure, and this also why like Articuno is super good because Articuno is fat. It can like reverse sweep with these, and basically these 5 guys have like they check each other, you know, like Tentacruel checks Articuno, checks Kangaskhan, Kadabra checks Tentacruel, Dugtrio like checks Tentacle and Kadabra, Articuno checks Dugtrio and the normals check Dugtrio and Kadabra. Basically like kind of rock paper scissors, but like yeah. So basically the most games and like the builder pressures mostly put on these Pokemon. The other 2 threats I want to mention are electric types, which is half the reason, a good chunk of the reason why Dugtrio is so good. Electric types are strong, they beat like they hit hard, and then they have like normal type coverage for Kadabra usually. They have a lot of pressure in the builder, and they beat a lot of the top Pokemon too. So, but Dugtrio and also Golem like really limit them. And the other big thing is the lead metagame, which is pretty complicated. Basically, in lead, you just want to trade well with the other leads. So stuff like either like getting sleep on them, or like just being a strong Pokemon like Kangaskhan or Ninetales that trades well into other Pokemon in the lead slot. But basically, the lead slot means like your lead Pokemon is like, you assume it's like it does not participate in the defensive role in your team, which is like by itself isn't a pressure, but like just makes you build like even weaker teams, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's basically the big pressures. Yeah. Next I'm gonna go through basically all the Pokemon in the tier, explain their sets and stuff. Yeah. Here's the Tentacruel #1 in the tier. This is the main set. Surf, like I said, hits with off that special stat really hard. Wrap punishes all the slower Pokemon, and there's a lot of like slower Pokemon, and there wants to be more slower Pokemon to handle the offensive threats, but Tentacruel just like beats them all. Blizzard hits grasses, 1-hit KOs Dragonite, does a lot of damage to Dodrio too. Hyper Beam, this is the 4th move, and like this is the move where you have room to experiment. Hyper Beam is usually standard because you can kill Kadabra from like 70% from it with this. Yeah. The other options are like, and this is really good, but like other options are like rest. You can use this to like rest up against Articunos, pressuring you well, but it's pretty exploitable. Other thing is Hydro Pump. You hit stronger, you can 2-hit like Kadabra. You can 2-hit Kangaskhan. I think crit has a roll to 1-hit Kadabra. What else? Rolls on Persian. Yeah, but generally the standard is Hyper Beam. The other option is, like Tentacruel, like I said, tricked by faster Pokemon like Electrix, Kadabra. Kadabra's the main check. Even like Haunter can limit it because it's immune to Wrap. It still gets like not be able to move, but just a thing. Like it limits it. Other one's the Swords Dance set. This is a typical set with the Swords Dance, Surf, Wrap, Hyper Beam. You can the thing with this is like they go to their Kadabra, right? You get a Swords Dance on the switch. Now you just one hit their Kadabra, or like, and like, yeah. And this is usually standard. The other option on this is substitute. You can run it over either surf or wrap. Substitute, basically, if you get another free turn, even like, if you get a substitute up, like Doug Trio isn't revenging you, stuff like that. But if you're giving up wrap, you give up that like choking pressure against slower Pokemon. And substitute doesn't actually block status, so if you like get it up versus Kadabra on the switch in, then they could still T-Wave you through the sub, and like you're a lot limited by that. And you want to have Surf too, because this like mono normal, this is walled by Haunter, which is really dumb. But both of these are like really strong. This is standard, basically. Yeah, that's how it works. And next, Kadabra. This is the one set, kind of like a defensive piece, kind of, because it really lifted Tentacruel. And but it's like it's really frail. Psychic also hits like a truck, which means usually want your Kadabra to deal with their Kadabra. But also both Kadabras hate facing off because they get T-waved. Then they get killed by a lot more stuff now, and Tentacle can wrap all over them. Yeah. The next we have Doug Trio. This is switches into like electric type attacks and T-waves. This is the standard. This is the only set you'll ever see. When it's really strong into a lot of the top ones like Electrics. When a crit when it KOs them. Golem doesn't actually crit, but the Golem's what did I say? Crit when it KOs Articuno with the Rock Slide. Just directly when it KOs Haunter with the Earthquake, yeah. And then Kadabra, like even Ninetales and Raichu, Tentacle, these don't want to be taking on still. Yeah. That's how it plays usually. Obviously stuff like Gyarados checks it, Dragonite, Dodrio, even Kingscon, even like Articuno can switch into a Earthquake and threaten a reverse sweep when your team is weakened, when your checks to Articuno are gone. So it's still like a really good mon, crits through everything. Next, Articuno. This is basically the only set too. Blizzard hits like a strongest attack in the game. Strong special attack in the game. He basically forces a water type on every team to deal with it, because that's how strong it is. Like stuff like Kingscon, stuff like freaking Kingscon's getting 2 KO'd, Persian getting 2 KO'd. Like even Haunter might get 2 KO'd. It's a really strong Pokemon, and like lets use Dragonite and stuff. Double Edge Hyper Beam just to hit the water types like Vaporeon, Dugong, etc. Also, Gyarados for the purposes here does not count as a water type because only neutral to ice attacks. Yeah. Hyper Beam is stronger. Also picks up Kadabra from 70, while the other 2 attacks do only 50 ish. But yeah. Next, Kingscon. This is the Body Slam, Hyper Beam, Earthquake is always going to be on there. Typically you see Rock Slide. This Body Slam just a strong move for everything. You can get Paraslams and stuff. Hyper Beam hits like a truck. Earthquake hits like Tentacruel for 60, I think. Yeah. Hits Haunter for almost kill. Hits Golem, hits Electric's kinda just like there. Then Rock Slide, this is for the 2 KO on Articuno. That's basically it. The Articuno is really big. The other thing is like, if you're running in the lead slot, you can run counter, because you typically don't face Articuno at all in the lead. Yeah. So like it's better in opposing Kangaskhan and such. But yeah, that's the Kangaskhan set. Checks like physical threats usually because it has a lot of phys def. Yeah, that's just what it does. Also, by the way, Dugtrio also gets biggest check to Dugtrio is Tangela. Kind of all over the place with this, but yeah. Next to Dodrio, this is kind of like Kangaskhan. Literally, Snorlax attack stat plus stab hyper beam plus base 100 crit rate, which is like 22%, I think. Really threatening to switch into. The one good check is Golem, and then Omastar is like kind of check. And then what else is like everything else just kind of struggles into it. Articuno can like take the hyper beam kinda. And like Blizzard Shake 1 KO back. Same with Dugong. Even though it's like Dugong really does not want to take that Hyper Beam, it can do it just to check Dodrio because Dodrio is just so good. Switches into Dugtrio really because it's a Dugtrio check because the immunity. Yeah, it's really hard. Agility up to sweep. Next, Dugong. This is the standard set. It's the best. It's not the best. It's a good Articuno check. Stab Blizzard has a lot of offensive pressure. You like 2-hit Kangaskhan and stuff. Body Slam is also hard, I'd say. You can hit Kadabra with it. Try to get a Pair Slam on it. You can also like try to Pair Slam with Tentacle coming in because they both hit Para. Rest is typically the standard. You can like rest up on Articunos because it doesn't do that much to you. And the last slot is Surf. Hits Omastar. It's 100% accurate. If you don't really care that much about hitting Omastar, the Ice Beam is kind of just better otherwise. Because has the freeze chance. The typing better against literally everything else. I guess not Golem, but Golem gets 1 kill anyways. What else? And Hyper Beam is the other option. You snipe waters from higher mounts. You can get good, yeah. Basically, just the water types get better ranges on them. And this is also kind of set. Blizzard 4 attacks. Usually you want rest, and like the other attacks aren't that good, but this is definitely a set you can run. To just deal with, like, because Dugong's a more offensive mod, by the way. Like, yeah. Next, Electabuzz. This guy, he's usually seen the lead slot. This is Thunderbolt, the Thunder Wave to pair stuff. Body Slam hits Kadabra, hits Dugtrio. Hyper Beam just hits like Electrics, hits Tangela from a certain amount. Yeah, and then the other options are like Psychic. Psychic can do more damage to Haunter, can do a bit of damage to Golem when you're not really touching it otherwise. Yeah, and that's basically 2 options, Hyper Beam or Psychic. There's a niche option in Thunder. This when it KOs Dodrio from full when you don't normally do that, but it's kind of risky. Hyper Beam and Psychic are both pretty useful moves, so you don't want to give them up. But yeah, power Hyper Beam. You check like Tentacle really well. You check Dodrio. You do a lot of damage to Articuno before you go out. Hit Gyarados well, Water as well, yeah. And even like Kangaskhan doesn't want to take your attacks. You do a lot to it. Next, Haunter. This is the first sleeper in the tier. Sleep is really OP, but all the sleepers have really big drawbacks that hold them back. Haunter, you run Hypnosis, you run these are usually the 2 attacks you run. Psychic, like you hit like you can get fish for special drops and stuff. Thunderbolt's just the strongest attack. Psychic is really nice for our Tentacruel because otherwise you kind of just like, without crits and stuff, you just lose the trade, even though you're supposed to be checking it. And Psychic lets you fish for Spit F drops so you can Tentacruel and you make yourself stronger versus it. Yeah. The other option is Nightshade. You do good damage to basically everything, mainly Tangela. Let's say like this. Tangela hits Kadabra for solid damage. These are all options, but I'd say this. Explosion, you can like blow up, do a lot of damage, even with the base 50 attacks, just how old gen Explosion works. Yeah, you can blow up on like an Articuno or something, trying to set up, you deny it so they don't get to move, and you do a lot of damage to them. And the boom also one-hit KOs Kadabra, so that's nice. You don't die to it immediately, and you can blow up on it. That's usually a good trade, but sometimes like you really wanted Haunter to limit their like Persian, for example, because it's a good Persian check. Walls Persian, or even like you want to use it as a pivot for like Kangaskhan Hyper Beam, or like, and that just like removes that option. But yeah, that's Haunter. Yeah, like I said, it's Persian Wall. It's good Kangaskhan switch in because you switch into it. The normal attacks. Earthquake doesn't one-hit KO on you, and you outspeed. So yeah, you get free sleep, which in Gen 1 is 1 to 7 turns, and you know the turn, like you know ahead of time when they wake up, because there's a wake up turn instead of the instantly waking up and attacking. Next, Dragonite. This is the Wrap set. So Dragonite has agility and Wrap Together Band because made really unfun games. Just the Wrap set, you usually use Wrap, Thunder Wave, Body Slam, Blizzard. Like I said, Wrap chokes stuff out with the insane attack stat. Body Slam hits really hard. You're basically as strong as as strong as a base 70 attack or normal type, like with outstab. Yeah. You're a good Dugtrio check because you switch into the Earthquake well. You're really bulky physically. Also checks Ninetales decently well because, I mean, nothing is good Ninetales check really, but you resist it. You resist the Fire Blast. You can paralyze it. You can like hit it decently, and yeah. The big thing is Articuno coming in on your like Wrap, or Tentacruel coming in on your Wrap, or even Gyarados, or like threatens you out because they want to KO you with their Blizzards. And Haunter, you can't really touch it with your Wrap or Body Slam, and Blizzard isn't that strong, so you usually get threatened out by that too. But yeah, you also can't really do that well in like stuff like Omastar or maybe Vaporeon, because the other option you can run Thunderbolt here, hits like water types, does solid damage to Articuno, I guess. I usually want to save it, but like if you wanna, you can hit it with a Thunderbolt, hit the Vaporeons, the Gyarados, etc. Omastar stops walling you if you have Thunderbolt. Obviously, it still 1Ks you with Blizzard, but it's trade-offs. And the other option is Hyper Beam. You can just do a lot of damage with this. Like, this is essentially a Persian Hyper Beam, because it's just that strong. The other option is Agility. Usually you see like 3 attack sets with this. You still defensively check all the same mons, but you can't like threaten Thunder Waves on like Tentacruel, for example. But like if they see you not Thunder Waving, they might think they switch in for free. And yeah, you have like Blizzard, Body Slam, Thunderbolt, hits all the things, and you can also run Hyper Beam, hits really hard, like Agility. And you can still run Thunder Wave on this, because Thunder Wave's always a great move. Something like this is fine. But yeah, that's Dragonite. You can decent check to electrics if you don't want to risk your Dodrio. You're pretty fast, so you can take on Kangaskhan Dodrio fairly well. You're like pretty fat, also especially so you can take on Kadabra decently. But yeah, I mean, usually on Wrap Dragonite you don't want to get T-Wave by them, but like on agility, you can like trade T-Waves and agility up and like do a lot of damage to them back. But yeah, that's Dragonite. Next we have Golem. It's a huge, really big tank in the tier. Walls, most Walls Electabuzz, Walls Electrode, Walls Dodrio, Walls physical Dragonite sets. Even like Dodrio can't one KO it with crit. Just like Walls versions that Bubble Beam. It's really hard to switch into because the base 110 is attack stat and Quick Slide hits everything in the tier decently, like pretty well. Rock Slide is usually the move for spamming, because it hits like Articuno, hits Dodrio, basically everything. There's no resist to Rock Slide, and like would switch, like even if you like, you can always throw off the Earthquake, try to catch Tentacle switching in, but generally you want to be spamming Rock Slide, and Earthquake hits like stab or Earthquake hits really hard, basically chunks the whole tier. Usually, like, the best switch-ins are, like, Kangaskhan. And Kangaskhan, like... And, like, to illustrate my point, like, Golem is a Kangaskhan switch-in. So Kangaskhan switching into Golem is, like, definitely not good. You can just force the trade, usually, to open up your own Pokemon. Or you can always, like, leave because they're forcing the EQing your Golem. Substitute, if you're, like, trying to get a sack, like, if they're trying to sack them on, you can read that, you can substitute up. You can fish for full paras, external if something else spread full para for you. You can just sub to scout a switch if you don't know what they're gonna do. And Explosion, you can trade with basically everything. Like Kangaskhan, you blow that up to like 70 to it, I think, a ton. Yeah. Or like Dugtrio, if you want to take that out, you can blow up on it. Even if they sub, you won't die, so you can just keep exploding. Yeah. Tangela is next. This is it's a really good Dugtrio check. The best Dugtrio check in the tier. Sleep is broken, Stun Spore is good. Body Slam, you just want attacking moves usually. Body Slam Mega Drain is good. You can run like Hyper Beam or something to do a bit more damage. You can run like, some people like to use Bind to like switch out, to slow pivot out for free switches. Yeah, the thing is, like, you're walled by a lot of stuff in the tier, like Articuno, Haunter. You can't touch, even Dodrio, you can't touch them at all. So yeah, like, it's a good defensive thing, but kind of fails to do anything other than get sleep and then get another Stun Spore off. But like, usually, like, you're using Tangela, that's good enough for what you're doing with it. The other issue is, if you're not running Mega Drain, like you wall Golem also walls you, and Golem usually wins that trade. Again, if you're not running Mega Drain, yeah. You also do pretty well into electric types. You're a decent Kadabra or Kangaskhan check in a pinch, because you're immense, like 65, 115. That's great for bulk. Yeah. Next, Persian. Broken Crit Machine. Slashes Permacrit in Gen 1, so that's really good. Body Slam. Body Slam is usually good for like crit fishing on Kadabra. You can get fish full pairs on Dugtrio or anything. Thunderbolt hits Omastar, hits Haunter, like kinda hits Gyarados well. Bullet Beam is just for Golem, but you don't want to be walled by Golem. You do not be wanting to get free turns to Golem. Golem is like a threat. And the other option is Hyper Beam here. You can YOLO Beam into stuff. You can honestly replace anything here with Hyper Beam. You can YOLO Beam into like anything with a high crit rate. You might be able to claim a kill. Yeah, that's Persian. It's really like one of the fastest mons in the tier, behind Dugtrio, behind Electrode. I think it's faster than everything else. It's like it's not walled by a Haunter, and like it's not that good as it used to be, but it's like if you slack on it, it'll beat you up so well. Next you have Fable. Fable has a ton of set variety. Like, you basically always want to be running Thunder Wave because Thunder Wave is broken. You usually want to be running Body Slam, but like, you can run pretty much anything from like Body Slam, like Hyper Beam to do good damage, Blizzard to hit ground types, you can like Thunderbolt to hit Gyarados to hit water types. You can run like even like Psychic to hit Counter pretty well, and you can like Seismic Toss does good damage to everything in the tier. And other options like Sing, if you like get sleep, fish for sleeps, can turn on around at game, or just put you in a huge lead in the early game. Yeah. It's like so fat that it's kind of an Articuno check. You can kind of do damage to it. You can like threaten it. It's really customizable. Like it's not really for Move Slot Syndrome because you can really pick anything and be happy with it from the options. The one thing I'd say like you want at least one of Body Slam, Seismic Toss, Blizzard, just to do good solid damage to everything. Beyond that, anything's fair game. Next we have also Counter is an option to fight like King's Con. Yeah, it's really customizable with this Pokemon. Next we have Gyarados. This is also like I consider this more high for Move Slot Syndrome, but like you usually want the Water Stab, Hydro Pump, 2 KOs King's Con, that's the standard. Body Slam, you can like hit everything, fish pairs on stuff. Blizzard hits waters, hits Dragonite. Thunderbolt just hits. Blizzard hits grasses and Dragonite. Thunderbolt just does good damage to other water types like Vaporeon, and Dugong. Does decent damage to Articuno. And the other main set I'd say is like Surf, Body Slam, Fire Blast. I mean, you would kind of like mix these up, but I'd say Surf, Fire Blast, Thunderbolt, Body Slam, because Surf is just consistent damage. It's like you don't really miss anything other than the Kangaskhan to a KO, and you have Fire Blast. So Fire Blast, the main 2 odds is 30% burn chance. So if versus Kangaskhan, you can limit that a lot. You can hit. Also does actually good damage to Articuno. Like you don't switch into it, but like you win the 1v1 now with this. What else? What does it check? It usually checks like Kadabra. I mean, the one thing you usually want to check with this obviously it checks Dugtrio mainly, because the flying typing and the good physical bulk. You switch into Kangaskhan EQs and just Whale on it. There's a good chance, like, barring crits, full paras, like you win, misses, but it's kind of risky. But even like, if you have backup checks to Dugtrio, then Gyarados into Kangaskhan trade is pretty good trade for you, considering how good it is. You can kind of take on Kadabra pretty well with this. It's kind of just like, yeah, that's the main stuff you want to be fighting with it. You can like kind of fight Ninetales. You can, yeah. You can switch into Tangela post sleep. The big thing you want to worry about with Gyarados is Haunter like takes advantage of you really badly. Like you only 3 kill it, it 2 kills and outspeeds you. That's like, or it can just sleep you. Not a good position to be in. But Gyarados is, I'd say, a really underrated Pokemon by the community. Like, I'd say like on the VR, I'd probably place it about like, probably about like this region, honestly, A2, rather than like down here. But yeah, that's Gyarados for you. Next we have Electrode. This is kind of like the fastest Pokemon in the tier by a good chunk. The fastest Pokemon in the entire game, actually. Just an electric type. The explosion is kind of nice. This is one of the Pokemon I'd say, along with Articuno, along with like Fable and Ninetales, that are kind of Articuno checks. You Thunderbolt, Twin Wave, Explosion, you blow up on, you do a lot of damage to like Dugtrio, you want to KO Kadabra. It's really strong. And the thing with Explosion versus Articuno is you can always switch into it safely, and barring crit, because if they Agility, then you Thunder Wave it into Explosion, and they're slower and you can finish off with like Kangaskhan. If they just raw Blizzard you, you can just raw Explode, and you can finish it off with like Kangaskhan again, or like Dugtrio. And the last move slot, usually Hyper Beam, hits like Dugtrio for decent damage. You finish off Lower Stream Kadabra. You probably finish off Tangela, it's really low. You can also run Tank Down. This hits Dugtrio on the switch in, but just do anything otherwise really. And the last option I'd say is Thunder. Again, like Electabuzz Thunder, this one KOs. I believe it always one KOs the Dodrio. That's kind of good, but also you're kind of physically bulkier than it, so you don't. I'd say don't really run Thunder. I'd just stick to Hyper Beam. That's basically the options for Electrode. You kind of just like hit with this. You check by Golem really well. Dugtrio doesn't check you that well, but like you don't want to be taking on Dugtrio. Definitely, it's not a good matchup for you. Otherwise, like Tentacle, like even like Articuno, stuff like that, they don't want to take you on. Well, alright, I had to cut, but like keep going. Yeah, so if you want to keep watching this, flag. Okay. Like, yeah, I think I explained Electrode well. Next, we have Vaporeon. This is the main other side, say. Surf by Acid Armor Rest. Surf is a stab, stuff, body slam. You hit Kadabra well. The nice thing about Vaporeon compared to Dugong, the first thing's like, you actually have a better chance of being hurt Articuno than Dugong does, which is insane. Because even despite the freeze chances, he's just so bulky. And the other thing is like, you're so specially bulky, like 130, 110 is insane. Kind of just go for sweep with acid armor. You can trade fine to like electric types. Like Vaporeon, like versus electric types can trade fine. Yeah, that's the main draw of Vaporeon. Otherwise, Dugong's kind of just more offensive, and then just in offensive meta, it's kind of just better. But Vaporeon can definitely work. So acid armor rest sweeper, late game once you like. Even like with a single crit, doesn't risk too much from stuff. Yeah. The other option, it's kind of something like this: Surf, Rest, Body Slam, Quick Attack. Quick Attack's the other draw of Vaporeon. You can like snipe off Weaken Kadabra or something. You can, yeah. You can run like Blizzard. Blizzard into Quick Attack usually kills Dodrio. Yeah. Or you can run Rest. Quick Attack's the other draw. If you're not running either Quick Attack or Acid Armor Rest, then you definitely use Dugong. And basically do the same stuff Dugong does, but it does better into like electric types, and definitely does well into Kadabra. Weirdly. Next we have Omastar. I'd say this is the set. Hydro Pump. It's Omastar is like Golem and Dugong at the same time, but it's worse than both. Because it beats Articuno, it beats Dodrio, but also like doesn't like beat just like I mean, Hydro Pump, you 2 KO Kingscon and stuff, but kind of inaccurate. Body Slam, you hit like Kadabra. Blizzard is good for Dragonite. You also completely wall Dragonite without Thunderbolt. Yeah, that's stuff. And if you want to do rest, you can like take out the Dodrio, then rest up, then take on the Articuno again. Or the other option is Seismic Toss just kind of hits the entire metagame decently, like with Fable. The weaknesses are like electric types, don't want to take it on, and like yeah, they're kind of like it's resting. Dugtrio gets in. Even like Gyarados takes it down way too well for it to like, and Haunter. Next, Raichu. I'd say this is Raichu is like, why use Raichu with all the electric types? The 2 things you get are Surf and Agility. Surf, you can 1 KO Golem with this and 2 KO Dugtrio. I'd say this is the only set. So you Agility Sweep up, you can Agility Sweep stuff. It's just like give up on Thunder Wave, like have your other slots spread Thunder Wave for you, I guess. You can't really fit it. Thunderbolt, Surf, Hyper Beam, Thunderbolt into Hyper Beam always kills Kadabra. That's the point of that. This is like a Backmon sweeper. It doesn't like seeing Dugtrio that much. I mean, technically wins the 1v1 after Agility. And the bad thing about it is like in the traditional electric type role, like tying Dodrio and tying Tentacle, there's like significant chance that you just lose either of those matchups, which is not good for an electric type to do. So you just use an electric sweeper in the end game like this. Next we have Ninetales. So technically the last Pokemon in RBY UU. It's definitely way too underrated. Like other people have agreed. It's like definitely like around even this region, yeah. Fire Blast hits like a truck with 100 base special. You get the Dojo and you get the Dojo tie, which is really relevant. Tentacle and Raichu ties are kind of less relevant, but they're definitely there. Like Tentacle is not a switch into Ninetales with 30% burn rate, ruins Wrap. Body Slam, Hyper Beam kills Kadabra. Kind of the one thing Ninetales doesn't really want to see is Dragonite, but like you can burn it and then Rhapsodies hate that. Confuse Ray is for opposing lead Haunter. If they try to like notice you, Confuse Ray reduces it to 30% accuracy because 50% confusion rate. That's basically the only set. This just nothing wants to switch into it. Like Resist, like what? Maybe Vaporeon's fine to switch into it, but like Gyarados hits the burn. Omastar, I guess, can switch into it, but like that's yeah. And like you trade well against like Dodrio, against Electabuzz, against even Fable, you do pretty well. Yeah, that's Ninetales for you. The other option, you can kind of run this in the back. It's a decent Articuno check in the back, but I don't think it's seen enough exploration. Kind of probably not that good. Like you want to use other stuff instead. And defensively, being a fire type isn't that good. You like taking on Dugtrio isn't really good at all. Yeah. Next, I'm gonna discuss a couple of the low tiers below the line that are like, in my opinion, also definitely worthy to be used. And in this section, you'll see. Here's the standard Poliwrath. It's the draw is that you're a water type, and you have Hypnosis. So like you take on Articuno pretty well. You can like get Hypnosis on that, and then your other stuff's like Blizzard does good damage. Surf doesn't actually do that much damage. Like even Hydro Pump isn't 2 KO in Kangaskhan, so it's not that much of a reason to run this. That Earthquake hits Haunter. hits electric type well, hits Omastar, I guess. Yeah. And Body Slam, you get full paras on like stuff like Kadabra, Tentacool, etc. They just don't want to be switching into this well. Yeah, that's just how it works. The other option is counter over like one of these things. Counter, if you take on Kangaskhan, counter into 2 blizzards always kills Kangaskhan. Countered Body Slam from Kangaskhan into 2 blizzards always kills opposing Kangaskhan. So that's a nice thing for it to have. But like, there's also a reason just isn't that good. There's a lot of weaknesses to it, like Dodrio. Electric types are like not good for it. So Tentacool, like if it gets down for free, it just kind of chokes you down. Just wrap spam. You die. There's the other set. I wouldn't say this is the good set. Most people would agree this is a bad set, but people use it and like kind of's fine. Hypnosis, Amnesia to set up, like Surf and Psychic's pretty much is the best last move. I mean, what else are you gonna? It hits Tentacool. Yeah. You don't really have good stuff to hit other stuff anyways. Like, I guess you can run Blizzard for Dragonite and Tangela, but Dragonite wraps you down. Yeah. It's probably the best option. You Hypnosis something, put it to sleep, use the free turn to Amnesia up, and you just try to sweep. Probably won't work that well, but that's just how it goes. And the other big issue with Poliwrath, it's like way less specially bulky than the other waters. Like, it's even less bulky than Dugong. So yeah. It doesn't take on, like, it's still a 5 KO, I think. Maybe a 4 KO, but like that's not a good calc to have when you're supposed to be a check to it. So if you're running Poliwrath as your Articuno check, you definitely need a backup check in like Tentacool or something. Next we have Aerodactyl. It's offensive Dugtrio check. You switch into those 2 spammable moves that Dugtrio clicks in Earthquake and Slash. Really well. Probably just run 4 attacks. Double it, good, decent damage. Fire Blast, you can burn stuff, I guess, and hit let's call it, what's his name? Articuno. Hyper Beam exists. Sky Attack. If you snipe Haunter, you can one KO it. Nothing else wants to switch into a Sky Attack because crit chances, and it's just a really strong move. Like, there's a lot of issues with Sky Attack, and its strength is not one of them. It's been picking up somewhat usage, but like, you can definitely see its flaws. It doesn't hit that hard or anything. You can also run Agility. That's an option. I don't know, probably over this Agility, but I also like to get repair. But you're already so fast, so I don't know. Probably run this. Yeah, that's. They also want walled, quote unquote, walled Dodrio. Like 80-65 isn't good defenses, but you resist all attacks. Probably do good enough into it. Yeah, that's good. You can also like revenge KO like Tentacool from like 40%. You can hit like a lot of Kadabra pretty well. Persian, I guess. Like, there's a lot of issues with Aerodactyl, but it can definitely do stuff. Next, we have Victory Bell. It's like an alternate Tangela. The big issue with this is like it has better stats than Tangela, but the big issue, poison typing just does so much bad for it. Like, you don't resist Dugtrio Earthquake anymore, so you don't take it that well. You can't switch into like Kadabra's Psychic is strong against you, so that hits you well. Yeah, you can't switch into Golem, obviously. And Razor Leaf and Rapid, I guess, is your other 2 attacks. You probably try to do some Swords Dance stuff, but that's definitely not gonna work. That's Victory Bell, yeah. There's good traits here, but just all the issues Tangela has and a bit more. Like, Razor Leaf is good, it's like strong, and Wrap is good, but just can't make up for its weaknesses. Next we have Venomoth. This is like just the ultimate matchup fish. Like in the lead. Victreebel, like you can run in the lead slot, you can fish for like Tangela and Clefable lead. And Venomoth is just like that, but you can fish for Clefable, Tangela, and Dragonite and Victreebel leads. Sleep, stun, Psychic does good damage. You can fish for drops and stuff. And then Double Edge, you hit Kadabra well. Like this has a set of tools that like you can do stuff with. The speed stat's the biggest thing. And the fact that you have semi-accurate sleep, that's the two big things that I was going for it. But like, it's just so weak. So many issues. It's definitely a matchup fish for the lead. What else? Next, Moltres. To talk about Moltres, I'm actually gonna talk about compared to RK9. Okay. So the trade-off, basically, you might look at like Moltres as way more special, but the big thing is like Moltres actually the only relevant calc this has is Moltres' Fire Blast has guaranteed to kill Kangaskhan when Arcanine's is 40%. I guess also the same deal with Persian, but like every other calc, there's essentially no difference between Moltres and Arcanine. Moltres is guaranteed to 2-hit KO Dodrio, while Arcanine's like 90%, I think. And the thing is, like, Arcanine has 10 more attack, which is nice. You aren't weak to Blizzard, which is nice, versus Articuno. Like, you're weaker, but you still always 2-hit KO it. And stat base 110. Hyper Body Slam is really good into Weekend and put Tentacle, and Hyper Beam is good because off that attack stats pretty great. Agility. The other thing you can run the Arcanine as is the lead. It's kind of like Ninetales, but like you hit stuff and then you agility up. So once you get if you get the first kill, and then you can get like some extra damage on the second Pokemon, and obviously like Arcanine does pretty well in the tier, so nothing really wants to be taking attacks from Arcanine. Like, yeah, that's basically Arcanine. It's basically usually pretty much always better than Moltres. Don't use Moltres, use Arcanine over it. It's agility sweeper. Yeah. That's basically all the relevant Pokemon in RBY UU. If you like this, I guess comment and subscribe for more. Probably doing more of this. Yeah. That's it, I guess. That's the end of the video.